Dave and I wanted to hop back on here real quick and just briefly reflect on the first year, the first season, dare I say, of Hanging with Homie.
So many episodes. This will be 38, the final episode of season 1 of our first year. We wanted to do every single week, but we delivered 38. And dude, I'll say with our full-time schedules, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's a full-time job for each of us, and then another one on top of that, plus relationships and family.
I almost died.
For real.
Yeah, and so like that ate up a whole month and a half. So
no,
I'll take that one on.
and you know, I recently went back and I watched the episode that we did after the special guest with Corey.
Oh yeah,
and you were kind of back at it, slowly starting to feel better. But now that I watched that in retrospect, knowing what was about to happen to you, being rushed to the ER and all that stuff, it is a very eerie episode to watch.
Well, I think there's a clip from that in this highlight episode.
Absolutely. So right here, right now, Dave and I just wanted to say thank you for subscribing, for listening, for streaming, for hanging out with us for nearly 40 weeks this year, and just say that we're really appreciative for your support on Hanging with Homie. It's the easiest job in the world, in theory, to sit here and talk with my best friend nearly every week. And we've queued up a bunch of our favorite bits and segments and conversations throughout this first year and this first season of Hanging with Homie, and I want to present that to you right now.
Hit it! I'm hanging with Homie, and you are also hanging with Homie. I'm Harding, that's Homie, and I'm lucky enough to get this guy on my show every single week. I don't know how I do it, maybe because we've been friends for, 20 plus years. Okay, maybe it's the money. All right, you know what, guys, it's the money. That's why he's here, but he's
Harding
still my
Homie,
friend.
2024.
We're not running for anything. I'm just hopefully going to be running a little bit to keep myself in shape.
The first internet we had in our family's apartment, it was a bootleg America Online. I'm not even kidding. It was called LOA. Log on America.
More like LOL, bro.
Dog, it was, because it would take so long to get you on. And then when you would sign on, it would go, welcome, you've got, goodbye. You couldn't even stay on. It would try to tell you welcome and that you have mail, but then it would say, well, you've got, goodbye. Just kept me there for like another hour. He's like, you're going to cop to it. You know what it means, and you know how inappropriate that is. And I was like, Mr. Johnson, I don't understand what you want from me. I'm talking about Al Snow.
It's on TV.
Yeah, and he was a big wrestling fan, so he knew. But he's obviously
knew the
a grown
innuendo.
Man.
He knew what it really meant.
Exactly. And at that age, I had no idea. Finally, he just let me go. And I wonder to this day, did he feel bad about that? Because I never copped to it, because I genuinely didn't understand the innuendo.
So frustrating when you don't actually know.
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of, this is cool. This is kind of weird. He comes out with a mannequin head and he hits people with it. And what does everybody want? And the whole crowd had, it was just exciting.
Oh, sick. If I had a little prop, that'd be cool too.
Yeah. So I wonder to this day, Mr. Johnson, or if you know him, Mr. Johnson from Longfellow Elementary, if this can find him somehow, some way, I want to know if you feel bad for that, for holding me hostage after school for so many hours, just thinking that I understood what I was saying. But yeah, that's my story in 5th grade about how Al Snow got me detention.
Thanks a lot, Al. I went down the Goosebumps rabbit hole just while you got started on that.
Yeah?
Do you remember the episode, and I'll jog your memory a little bit, Welcome to Camp Nightmare? Does that ring a bell?
I remember the name, absolutely.
Okay, this was the episode where eventually you figure out, the counselors are lying to the kids about some beast, the kid went in the woods and, the beast ate him. But then slowly but surely, the campers are like, wait a minute, all my friends are gone. I think this is a cannibal camp.
That's right. Dude, this stuff
This
is
is a
wild.
kids show? Get out of here,
Wild,
dude.
bro.
So I'm like,
Golly.
I'm like reading these notes, and I'm like, oh. And then they're sitting there in the cafeteria, like eating, and they're like, Billy's gone. Wait, Billy didn't come back. And they're like, oh my God, I'm eating Billy.
Oh my good dude, I absolutely remember it now that you're like telling me the premise and everything. And dude, that had kids everywhere terrified to go to like stay over like summer camp, just petrified.
At the height of me going to summer camp, like up in Maine, dude. And Maine is one of the most terrifying places to go to overnight camp because of movies, shows like this. And like Friday the 13th is based on a lake in Maine.
Crystal Lake, man.
So you're like, man.
Did I ever tell you about my encounter with the fire department on Valentine's Day?
If you did, I forgot. And good news for the listeners. You're about to hear about it.
Oh, man. So I'm living in Nashville, and it's Valentine's Day freezing outside. For some reason, it was still snowing in Nashville. But my girlfriend decides that she's going to make me breakfast, which is you and I's favorite meal of the day.
Breakfast.
Come on. Breakfast. So I was real excited about that.
Nice.
Bro, we're at her apartment. I pull up this what was it? This 4K fireplace on the TV.
Ooh.
You know, we got candles on. First thing in the morning,
crackle.
Valentine's Day. You can hear the crackle.
Dude.
And it was those candles with like the wicks that make that noise. You know, they're so good.
So I guess you can use the fireplace for Christmas and Valentine's Day. I mean, I guess any occasion when it's cold.
Yeah, any time.
Okay.
She's like, I'm going to make you breakfast. What do you want? I'm like, well, geez, I want some scrambled eggs. I want some hash browns. I want some bacon,
Damn, bro. Slow down.
Right. Well, dude, I was taking advantage of this.
Kidding,
Never
I'm kidding.
Never cooked for me
Pile
before.
it on, let's go. Pancakes, waffles, come on.
Yeah, so I don't know when the last time was that she used that stove, but instantaneously, the fire alarm goes off. Not even a minute into the cooking.
Whoa.
And we couldn't get it to stop. Because sometimes if, there was a little smoke, you can wave your towel in front of it and it'll kind of stop.
Or
no.
remove the detector and be like, hey, it's not really a fire.
Yeah, well, we couldn't do that. So not only did hers go off in her apartment, but everybody in the entire building's fire alarm went off. And mind you, it's probably like 25 degrees outside and it's snowing. We couldn't get it to stop. So the fire department shows up. The whole apartment's covered in smoke. Like we couldn't get it to stop. Like the whole stovetop caught on fire.
You have to go outside?
We go outside and everybody in the entire building was already outside and they're all looking around. Like who's ruining my Valentine's Day morning? So I start looking around like who is ruining my Valentine's Day morning? Because I didn't want them to know it was
Blend in,
us.
smart.
Yeah, so we just tried to blend in and we're looking around all mad just like everybody else, Eventually, the fire department's able to get it to stop and they're like, hey, this is what happened. So we decide to leave, right? Because we don't want people to know it was us.
Come back a little later.
Yeah, so we leave and go to my apartment, and she's like, I still want to make you breakfast. And I was like, we don't need a repeat of what just happened. So I helped her make it. Everything went just fine. What do I miss about Nashville? Everything.
Well, such a great city. I remember living there with you for 6 months. I had a great time there.
You know what's so weird? Today, what popped up as we're recording this on my Facebook memories, it was you had just moved into your office in Germantown.
Germantown. Man, I love that office.
You had just got the keys. Yeah. So,
damn.
Man, yeah, I miss a lot about Nashville. I miss the food. I miss the people. I miss the folks that I worked with. I miss Hot for sure. There's something about Nashville. It's definitely a very big city, but it feels like it's a small town. And I think that's the best of both worlds, man. It's special for sure. I miss that, as cliche as it is, it's that, Southern charm, that Southern comfort, that Southern hospitality. It's very, very real. And quick story, I learned that my very first weekend after moving to Nashville, I accepted a gig to DJ downtown. Downtown Nashville, significantly busier and crazier than downtown Portland, Maine.
Banana land. Yeah. Any night of the week.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I decided that I was going to drive down there. Mind you, I hadn't even been driving for a year yet when I moved there, right?
Damn, that's right, dude. I didn't realize that.
So I get down there and I'm trying to find a spot to park, you know?
Park your car, bro.
Park your car, bub. And I find this lot, and I'm in my sister's car because I didn't have one yet. I just got down there. It was my first, like, weekend there after you left. And I'm like, okay, I'm calling like the DJ company that I'm working with, and I'm calling the promoter, and I'm like late and I can't find out where I'm going and I don't know where to park. So I finally find this lot, and it must have been like 7-8 blocks away, and I'm already late for the gig.
And you're freaking out.
Dude, I'm having a full out anxiety attack. I wanted to be like, screw this. I'm out. I'm done DJing. I'm over it.
But you stuck with it, bro.
Yeah, well, I wanted to try to be tough, but on the inside, bro, I was cracking, you know?
But you went through with it.
Here's where it all flipped for me. And this is one of the things that I miss about Nashville the most. Is there I am walking out of this parking garage holding I got my decks, right? And I got my bag on. That's all I needed. And I'm about to walk 8 blocks. And I'm just like, it was written all over my face how stressed out I was. And this older Southern lady says, "Excuse me, young man, do you need some help?" And I was like, "Ma'am, I'm beyond help. You know, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I moved here because I'm freaking out, right?"
Right.
And she goes, "No, I can tell you need some help." And she goes, "Hold on right here. I'm going to get my car." And I was like, "No, that's, you know," she said, "No," she said, "You, sir, you stay right here." So she goes into the garage that I just came out of, pulls her car out, takes my backpack and my decks, loads it into the back of her car, and drives me 8 blocks.
To the
Pulls
spot.
right up to the front of the club like I was getting dropped off at school by mom. And she said, "Young man, welcome to the South."
Yeah.
Every generation, you know, before thinks the next one is soft.
Right.
You know, it's like you're boomers and you're Gen Xers and you're millennials and now you're Gen Zers. And it's like, I don't know that had ever actually been true. Like obviously I always looked at the generation before us like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. But then once I got older, I started to realize, I was like, yo, Mom, some of the music that you grew up with is so friggin' good.
Yeah.
You know? And that's starting to happen now. And I'm seeing it, you know, sporadically over the internet where Gen Zers are saying that, like, you know, that 2000s hip hop that my parents grew up with. Yo, this stuff is damn good and much better than what we're listening to now.
They're coming around.
And of course, for us, if we go back to the 2000s, it's like, dude, it was like the best stuff ever. But again, we're super impressionable at that time, and a lot of that I still listen to this day, but it's not lost on me where it came from, and I can still acknowledge that all the stuff that my parents and the people before listened to is super good. Like, dude, some of my favorite stuff is like Frankie frickin' Valli.
Yeah.
Like way, way back. And even like a lot of the Motown stuff. And like, you know, flash forward, my mom was a huge Kiss fan and I didn't get it when I was a kid. But now, bro, I'll be out there in the kitchen cooking up some chicken singing, "I wanna rock and roll." Oh, you know what I mean? Yeah, like I'm super into it. So yeah, just you can, if music is great, it's timeless.
Yes.
You were just saying that baseball story with the bat, and they like pulled you out of the game and how pissed you were. Like, this was my moment. I remember playing freshman football for Westbrook High. And if your father wasn't a booster, you didn't get to play.
The politics of school sports.
And I hope it's not like that now, because there's so many just kids, that need to be able to get out on the field and hit somebody. Like, you had to take out your aggression on the stump. I remember getting in for one play, free safety, because our star player, he was tired, right? So, sorry, will you bleep that out? So I get out there for one play, and we're playing South Portland. And they're on the drive. If they score, the game's over, right? And I'm just playing free safety, so I'm just hanging out back there, and I'm watching their tight end, who's the tallest guy on the field, and I'm probably next, And he just runs this 10 and out, and I jump the route and pick off the ball and seal the win. And everybody goes nuts. And it was like 30 seconds of like, oh my God, this is great. And then I never saw the field again.
Ridiculous.
It just sucks, man, because I really wanted to play. Like, I loved it.
There was a lot of that, and I think unfortunately that still exists, but it's almost worse because you've got AAU and you've got, all right, well, this is for school, and at high school level it's much worse than Little League. Some kids are late bloomers. You and me were late bloomers. I mean, I got, even now in my mid 30s, I can hoop with pretty much anybody outside of,
you can shoot with anybody.
Yeah, I can shoot with anybody. But outside of, you actually play D1 all the time. I'm not playing all the time. But if I'm playing pickup, I'm like, I don't care what size you are. Like, my skills got better as I got older. I just never had somebody pushing me at a young enough age and giving me, it's the reps. I don't want to say my whole life, because when you're like a young kid, nobody is thinking that way. But once I got into like my high school years, my teen years, really, it was always, well, Jeff will never do this. And then you do this. Oh, well, he'll never do that. Okay, he did that, but he'll never do these things. And then you do these things. Essentially, what they keep doing is they just keep moving the goalpost. Right.
And I don't know why people do this. It doesn't affect them in any way, shape, or form, or at least it shouldn't. So why are you putting these parameters on me? Maybe not so much anymore. Maybe secretly people are, but it was something that I definitely felt all through my teen years, all through my 20s. And it was like, oh, you think you're going to be a rapper? You think people are going to pay to come see you? It's like, okay, well, I put 600 people in Port City. They paid to come see me. I performed in front of 1,000 people at State Theater. They came to see me. It's, oh, well, you'll never actually be like a DJ. Okay, well, I did that. Well, I mean, you'll never be on the radio and like, host your own show. Okay, well, I did that. I don't know, man. Why do people do that? It drives me fucking crazy. I don't understand. Like, why are you moving the goal? This should not matter to you. Focus on your own stuff, or is it all in my stupid mind?
No, it's you're aware of it. You may not hear it directly, but you're aware it's being said. And maybe sometimes you even catch people saying it to you. But in the words of Anthony Anderson from Hustle and Flow, you got two groups of people. You got walkers and talkers. And people who are doing the walking don't have time to talk.
Nope.
So if somebody's talking, that just tells me, well, if you have this much time to talk, you're not doing whatever it is you should be doing. Yeah. And back to your, the mindset thing from teens to 20s to now, once you start checking some of those big boxes on your goals list, then you realize, oh, wait, this is my list. I don't even have to share it with other people. And now that I've checked a couple things off, that's all just white noise, and it's still not affecting me. Even if I do hear it, I'm not paying attention to it.
So I go into DJ Gorham High School's, I think it was a homecoming or a winter carnival, something like that. And I'm playing Nicki Minaj Starships.
Great
upbeat,
song. Love that
125
song.
beats per minute, upbeat, party banger, pop EDM. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of students just start walking out the door. And I'm like, what? Like, this is like a dope song. Like, people love this song. We play it on the air all the time. A bunch of people are dancing. Come to find out, they had a set time where they were staging a walkout.
Oh, and you obviously didn't know about it.
Well, no, of course not. So I was taking it personally, like, damn, like that's disrespectful. Like I'm doing a great job here, but it had nothing to do with me. Yeah, it had nothing to do with me. So they just start leaving. And apparently it was because the teachers and faculty were going around with a yardstick with a Mickey Mouse hand on the end of it. Whoo! And just leave some room for the Lord.
Dude.
Right?
And it's not a Catholic school. It's a public school.
No
Bringing
grinding.
God into the situation. Yeah, that's what that means. Yeah.
Yep. So it was you got to stay apart. No dirty dancing was a word they used too. No, they're like, don't play stuff that's gonna make them, grind.
Have
I'm like,
you listened to the radio?
I was like,
Teachers,
I'm gonna keep it upbeat the whole time. I got Pitbull, I got Nicki, I got Flo Rida, I got Katy Perry.
It's
this
fast
was
moving.
Exactly.
No slow jams, which is so unfortunate.
No, it's like I'm not going to drop Pony because some girl's going to get pregnant. Like, no, we're not going to do that.
But even, I even remember in like the middle school dances, you'd like put your arms out and kind of be like, you'd be apart anyway because you don't really know what you're doing, or you'd be like there. You're like, okay, hopefully that's okay.
So I came up with this scenario where you met some girl from Tinder and showed up for the date. But because she was an inch taller than you, she canceled the date.
What? How tall did this girl have to be?
Well, the point that I was trying to make is there are so many different standards now and so many different like boxes that I feel like a man has to check to even try to get just a first date. So I kind of use this as as an extreme. Louder for the people on the back. I kind of use this to like, open up that door to discuss it. And apparently my listeners here in Denver, it definitely struck a nerve, and I got some pretty good calls about it. Some people they feel really bad for you. And some people,
I'm glad I have people on my side. They don't even know me and they're taking my side.
You're getting sympathy. All
right, I'll take it.
On my show, and the reason I didn't have a problem, throwing some, sweet and sour sauce on this and kind of making it bigger than it is because this kind of thing happens all the time. If it's not you, it's me, it's some other guy, some other schmuck, So, there's all these different boxes that men have to check. And I wanted to kind of dive into that. And speaking to a predominantly female audience, I got some interesting takes.
Okay.
And I pulled 2 of those calls to play for you and our audience here today.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm going to keep out their names and towns to protect those involved.
Okay, fair.
But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play you this first call here. And this woman went off. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, I think that your buddy Dave should not be down on himself. First of all, I got 2 things to say. At my age, I've dated quite a bit, but first of all, he dodged a bullet. If she's that insecure in her own height that she can't date a guy that's shorter than her, more of a red flag and a reflection on her personality. And second, you can't be, if a date doesn't work out, you can't be down on yourself at all because there's a reason it didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be. If it's meant to be, it's going to work out. It's going to be smooth and it's going to happen naturally.
I'm going to play this for my buddy. He's going to be so happy about it.
Yeah, tell him not to be down on himself. The right girl's going to come along and she's going to love him exactly the way he is.
Oh, that's so kind of her.
Right? Dude, Are you kidding? Like, this topic struck a nerve, and this person, like, doesn't know you from Adam, and they're just they're calling in to defend you and tell you actually dodged a bullet. Because think about that. Like, if a woman is like, okay, here's the thing that I've been seeing a lot online.
All right.
Right? You got to be over 6 foot.
Okay.
You got to make over 6 figures.
I did, not right now, but I have.
And your willy has got to be over 6 inches.
No,
they're calling it the 666 rule, and I'm not accepting that. Well, how things are going for me is I got felt up by LAX security. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, how was that? Was it nice?
Politely, if I may add. Okay, with the backs of their hands. So here's the thing, dude. I'm going through I'm going through security at LAX to come back to Denver after I had just went on a shopping spree. I'm brand new to collecting WWE Elites, so I thought, while I'm out there, let me try to find some cool shops. Not only did I find some cool shops, but I found the Mattel headquarters. So I went right to the headquarters, to their shop, bought a bunch of stuff, which I'm probably going to be eating cereal for the next week because of it. But fast forward to me trying to leave Los Angeles, my backpack is so full of new toys which sounds really ridiculous to say out loud.
What kind of toys you packing?
What you got on adventures for? But all these new WWE figures that I'd zipped the bag, but the zipper busted open because it was too full. So I had to condense everything into this tote bag, right? And put a shirt over it because I'm flying Spirit, which is already throwing caution at the wind.
Whoa. And you're flying Spirit on top of all the bad things happening. You're really, dude, I need to burn some more incense for you.
Dude, I was rolling the dice, man. That was the only move I had. So I'm going through, and because you can only bring one bag, right? Unless you want to pay like $90 for a carry-on. I'm like, at that point, I might as well fly Delta or JetBlue, right? But so I'm going through, and I have to wear my heaviest stuff because I don't have room in my bag. So I'm wearing jeans, I'm wearing a hoodie, and the zipper on my jeans sets off the metal detector. And the guy goes down to his walkie. He's like, "I need some backup over here, 6'2". I'm like, what is going on? So he pulls me aside, and he has his backup behind him. He's like, "So what's going on here?" And he points at a screen, and there's a big red sign on my crotch. And I go, "I don't know. You tell me what is going on here." He goes, "I'm going to need you to come with us." So he pulls me back, right? And he goes, "So this is what's going to happen." And he starts putting on,
oh God, oh no,
putting on his gloves. And I'm thinking, bro, you're not going up there. Like, this is not happening, right?
Hello.
Cavity search. So he goes, "Well, here's what's going to happen. With the back of my hands, I'm going to pat you down over your crotchal area." I go, "Can we not say crotchal?"
Is that a word? That's a fake word.
It is a made-up TSA bullshit word is what it is. So he starts just patting me down. And then he's like, "All right, spread your legs. One leg out, one leg back." And I'm thinking, I was like, you could at least take me to dinner first,
Oh, Mr. Chappelle, right this way.
I'm trying to make light of it. Meanwhile, right, my flight is coming right up, and I need to get to my gate. And he does this way, does that way. I'm like, all right, I'm in the clear. So you go down to get your little plastic bin and your shoes and all that, except mine aren't there. They've been taken back by security, my bag. So not only do I get stopped, right, and patted down and, rubbed on politely.
You got the business.
Yeah, I got the business, bro. The business. So they take my bag, and the guy's like, "Whose bag is this?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it just keeps getting worse, And all the while, I'm looking forward to a Spirit flight. So he brings me over. He's like, "Are there any sharp objects in this that could, poke or harm me?" I go, "No, they're just action figures." He's like, "Okay, hold on. I need to go through your bag." So he starts going through everything. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, the Ultimate Warrior. Dude, no way. Bret the Hitman Hart." He goes, "Do you have Yokozuna in here?" And I was like, "No, man. Like, these are my new pickups. And this is my new hobby. I need to get to my gate." So he's continuing to go through. He's like, "Oh, dude, Cody Rhodes. Oh, man." And then he just starts telling me this story about how him and his brother went to the last WWE show. And I'm like, my flight is boarding in 15 minutes.
Come on, bro.
I need to get out of here.
What's your Instagram?
Yeah, we can connect after, bro. Like, we can be friends. On last week's show, or when we recorded it a week ago,
yeah,
Dave was trying to go out on a date with this girl, and I was giving you some advice, and I thought it was pretty good advice. Did any of it pan out?
So this is a different girl that I went out with, not the one that I was. But of course, I incorporated your advice and information because I'm like, all right. So actually went bowling. I was like, you know what? Well, how about bowling? That's a good idea. JR did that. Let's see if that goes good. Went to Bayside Bowl. And to her credit, she's like, bowling's not my thing, but I'm down. So, gave me like hints like, yes, I do want to go out. It doesn't really matter what we do. I just want to chat. That's how you know if a girl will just go and do something she's not comfortable doing, but will do it anyway. Hey, she did all right. I mean, I won both games because I'm not going to let somebody win. But at the same time, like it ended up being kind of close. So that was the first half. And then I was like, hey, you know what? Like, if this is too long of a wait, let's go to the Arcadia, the barcade, which we've been to before. But they moved it to Port City Music Hall because Port City is gone. And now it's Arcadia.
What?
Yeah, you probably didn't know, but I was confused too because I said I thought this was on a different street, and now it's here. And I looked in, and you can't quite tell when you look in, but the layout of Port City is all exactly the same. They got the booths to the side, and they got the big room area, but it's just pinball machines and old arcade games. And so we did that for a while, but it's very hard to continue a conversation while you're playing pinball because you're like looking down playing pinball, and then you're like, oh, I kind of feel like stupid right now because I'm playing pinball and we're not like chatting. So I'd like stop and like talk and stop and play and talk.
Yeah.
I thought overall it went good. Neither of us had been out on like a date in a long time. So at the end it was like, all right, well, can I get your number? It was one of those like moments like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, let's just hug it out and I'll text you later. So it was
real. And bowling's a good idea. It's like bowling or pool or like any of those kind of things. It's like very few people are actually really good at it. So it's just that's what kind of makes it fun.
So we got some stuff here today, but when we went to Brimfield, which is the world-renowned flea market, I didn't realize this was so big. And I was telling you, yeah, dude, it's in July, it's in September, it was just in May. It's 10 miles, got tons of jerseys. Dude, I've even been picking Burlington Coat Factory over here by the Jetport.
I hear they might have toys now, too.
They do, actually. I saw they had like Captain America, they had Captain Marvel. They had some Marvel stuff. I picked a Willie Stargell Mitchell and Ness brand new XL jersey for $30, and it's $100, and it's still got the tags. So I think it's all about like curators of these things. You curate the figures, I curate jerseys, cards, whatever. If you put that into one place, an eBay store, a physical store, the people they're going to pay you the premium because you're consolidating. You're bringing it all into one place. They don't have to go search. But you and me like to go search, and we're going to get rewarded for getting it at a better price. So I'm just out here flipping, dude. I'm flip man now. That's what I do.
Dude, it's so cool to see, man. It's like I sent this text to my lady today after all that had happened right before we filmed, and I go, this might sound strange, but I feel so much more like myself lately. And I think it's because I've discovered, maybe not discovered, but rediscovered passions of mine that I maybe kind of sort of suppressed a little bit. Like, maybe that's not financially responsible. Maybe that's not, so much the cool thing to do. Maybe my money would be better served somewhere else. But dude, I'll tell you, as far as happiness, man, just going out and going on the hunt, and you're following these accounts, and you're trying to find the right deal, and you're haggling, and you're bundling, and you're just like I don't know, man. It's just, and then you get to come back home, and in your case, you get to list it and try to get the highest bid. And in my case, I get to open it and display it and set up the light and take, the picture and the video and put this guy next to that guy.
Isn't
and this
it all
team
about
over
the picture?
Can't confirm or deny that it is in fact Ken.
Okay.
But it's definitely some type of drug dealer, because over the last few weeks, I'm noticing these cars. I got to be quiet because they might be around.
Right.
But I keep that thing on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that championship belt.
So just random cars pulling up like in the middle of the night, and they're just like hanging out. And then the people come out of their place and, walk over to the car. That car leaves. 15 minutes later, another car shows up. And I'm like, I've seen this game before, right?
And no
Ken,
pizza.
upstairs.
No pizza changes hands. So you're like, something is up. Where's all the pizza?
Yeah, no pizza. It's a, something else. And so I got my family in town, right?
Right.
And then randomly, one of them comes over and starts knocking on my door. So all of a sudden it's like, who knocks on people's doors now, Bob? Like, you call,
Also,
tell
that
them
was
you're
a
outside.
great sound effect. Like, you could have just hit a button and I would have believed. Like, that was great.
Not bad.
Foley. We're going to clip that and save it for later.
Starts knocking on the door, and that moment when you're in your apartment with other people or in your house, whatever, somebody knocks on the door that you're not expecting. Everybody turns and just looks at each other for a second.
They're like,
You're like, who the fuck is that?
Did you call some? No. Jeff, who is this? Jeff,
you order pizza? Who is that? So I put my eye right up the peephole, and I'm like, who is this SpongeBob looking mother? What is he doing at my door?
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not going to answer it. I don't know this person, and I've seen so many clips online where they'll send this damsel in distress to the door, and then you got just gangbusters busting. I'm like, I'm not falling for that shit, okay? So, and then my mom starts turning all the lights off like they don't know we're already inside. Who is it? I was like, I don't know. I'm asking you, who is it? I've never seen him before. And not to be a male Karen, but I sent a worded email to my office here at my complex.
Were they on premise?
Yeah, they're very much.
Okay, good. Didn't just go into the void like, all right, email sent. Hopefully somebody reads this.
Nobody's written me back yet.
Okay, but it was sent.
But dude, if I gotta go down there, I'll go right in that. I'll walk right into that front door.
I gotta go down there. No soliciting. I don't need anything.
Yeah.
I didn't call you.
But it's sketchy because me and mom were driving off to get us food, right? And this is the first, I've seen cops in here before. They'll patrol. They've busted a couple of knuckleheads here and there. But overall, this is like a super safe and calm
dude,
place.
when I was there, it was not a peep. It was very silent.
Yeah. So as we're leaving, 2 cruisers are pulling in. I'm like, what the heck is that about? And we're texting my sister, and she goes, 12 people just ran out of the apartment across the street. Half of them are holding babies. And the cops are chasing them.
With what, dude?
with babies. So they're just
write this stuff.
running from the police. And then all that stuff happens a little bit later with the, more cars are showing up. Somebody's just, knocking on the door. And so I sent, pretty firm worded email to my complex.
Got your
and
point
I'm trying
across there.
Yeah. I drew, everyone has a point. I drew the line in the sand. I said, I want answers.
This is my line. Don't be a line stepper.
I said, I've been a tenant here a year and a half now.
I pay my rent on time.
Never been late one day.
I don't complain.
No.
Come on.
I don't complain that the pool was open for 3 days the entire summer last year.
Preach.
I don't complain that you sent me a damn email that said, hey, resident, great news. The pool is down for construction.
Forever.
Essentially, man. But hey, I'll tell you, it's been a good place to live. They let me put in a 60-day clause in my contract. So if iHeart wants to send me somewhere, all I got to do is give them 2 months.
If you had to choose between one iconic main treat for the rest of your life that you could have, and only one of the two, would you choose a whoopie pie or peanut butter and fluff sandwich? We know they're iconic, so you got to pick one.
An impossible question.
Yeah, but I kind of want to try to answer this at the same time with you on 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Fluffernutter.
Pie. What? Really? Summer of 8th grade going into freshman year. That was the summer I finally cut off the bowl cut.
The transition. Yeah, that was the
Yep.
transition for me too. I was like, you know what? I'm doing the ski jump, the flip, the spike, whatever. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, the little swoop. They called it the sports cut. And I was like, whatever. I want to fit in. I can't have. I'm like,
Who's that
I can't
kid?
have the bowl cut no more.
Yeah. I want to look like that kid. I'm going to high
was
school,
like-
man.
Yeah, like the 90s were over. It was time for me to like,
full acceptance. Friday, Matt and I finished 75 hard. Everybody, give it
Yeah.
up for me and Matt. We did that.
Seriously
Over.
though.
We had some adult beverages, which is leading to why when you triggered in my mind the song "Teach Me How to Dougie," we went to the Oasis. I haven't been in
What?
a
I thought it
long
was closed down.
It's not. And Matt said he'd never been. So I said, well, we have to go in. You have to at least experience this. So we go upstairs and lo and behold, I took a picture for you. I haven't sent it to you. Guess who is DJing upstairs? You'll guess.
DJ motherfucking Roy.
No.
What?
What's your next guess?
Lenza.
Yep. I was like,
What?
did
I thought he
my eyes
retired.
deceive me? He was up there and he had his Twitter or Snap. I think it was his Snap, and you could like send him requests, and I kept seeing him check his phone and just like shake his head.
These are a bunch of just iconic main commercials that we've grown up with, and I just want Dave and us to kind of react to them and just kind of see where it goes. You down?
I'm ready. I'm looking at this list and I'm excited.
All right, we're gonna go with number 1, and it's gonna be immediately recognizable.
I don't know about you, dear, but with winter what it was and prices what they are, I need to save every penny I can get. No, Daddy, down.
Whoa!
Whoa, hey now.
Coming in hot, dude. What?
So for you listening, there's just a hand. There's a woman in a tree, and there's a hand that's like, I guess, trying to take her money.
Yeah.
And she just called this person daddy. So I don't know. Go where you want with that.
She's in a tree. I can't explain it. All right, let's keep moving.
Play dead. That's why I love Martin's. I can get all kinds of summer goodies at discounts lower than a Lincoln Lobster Pot. It's like
What did she say? A
Lincoln
Lincoln lobster pot. Dude, is there something
never heard of that.
soothing about her voice to you?
It's grating, but it's also soothing because it's
Yes.
familiar. I know it. I'm familiar with it, but it's not pleasant.
No, I see that my sentiments exactly.
the more you shop at Martin's, dear, the more you save. So you go home a hero. All right, Daddy, here. Go buy yourself a big tasty plate of tools at Martin's.
I mean, my joke always is, well, songs aren't going to play themselves, right?
Well,
Well,
they do have
Of course
AI,
they are.
They have AI
Yeah.
DJs now.
no, iHeart has one.
I just
think
heard
it's-
about it.
Yeah, I think it's in Canada, if I'm right.
Man, dude, that's pretty close to the border.
Yeah, and dude, I remember when I worked at the gentleman's establishment back in the day.
I remember too.
I used to butt heads with management there all the time because I would want to play what the girls wanted so I could get a good tip. But the club wanted to hear certain stuff because they wanted a certain like atmosphere.
Right.
I was like, well, you're giving me like $3 an hour. I'm gonna play what the girls want because I need to make some money.
Yeah.
And that was the constant just button heads all the time. And I remember one time the management, his name was Gary. So Gary, if you're watching, I'm right here, bud. Okay.
How do you like them apples, Gary?
How do you like them apples, Gare? You know? But he was like, well, you know what? One day I'm gonna have all of you DJs and MCs replaced by a fucking robot. And now I look back, I'm like, well, it wasn't really that far off because it's kind of happening, you know, because it was always like way back in the day. Oh, they're gonna have a computer, a robot that's gonna do this, and it's like, yeah, no, they won't. But now it's like, it's here, and it's a lot better than anybody thought it was gonna be. It's still not exactly human, of course. Question number 3. And this comes from my beautiful, talented girlfriend. Here we go.
Hey, babe, here's my question for you. When are you proposing? It's been 4 years and I can't wait much longer. My clock is ticking and yeah, I'm ready for a ring. Hello.
What? I'm sorry. What? Next question. Bro.
You know what? B, I'll tell you what. How about we live in the same damn state first? How about that?
Tell him, preach, brother.
Right? How about in the same state? Better yet. How about in the same city? Better yet. How about in the same damn house?
Wow.
Right? It's like I got a long distance girlfriend for nearly 2 years. I think a long distance fiance is where I kind of draw the line. Well, it doesn't make any damn sense at all, right?
That sounds like a bad internet site. Longdistancefiance.com.
Tonight on TLC, long distance fiance.
Dude, that's
But of course she'd put me
That's
on blast
hilarious,
like that.
bro.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, why would you do it that way? That's wild. So I, just using common sense and logic, I said, well, okay, what kind of pig was it? And he said it was a cleaning pig. I said, well, let me ask you this: how much of the product came out of the piping? And he said, all of it. I said, well, if all of it came out,
Then the pig did too.
the pig is in the trap.
Yeah.
So there's a trap at the end of where the trap.
Oh,
but
my
as soon as you let
goodness.
the pressure out, like you screw up the whole process.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to check.
Come
so
on.
I was like, I guess we can X-ray right there. And he was like, no, we're not doing it. So I took a slag hammer, which is like it's just a metal hammer that has pointy ends on it.
Okay.
It's for hitting welds and cleaning welds and stuff like that. I took a slag hammer over to it and I started knocking on it, listening for it to be hollow or not.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, I get
There
right
it
over the
is.
trap and I'm like, and then there it is. And I'm like, it's in there. And they go, if Harlan Weber's grandson just found the friggin' pig with a slag hammer, they're like, we're gonna all quit our jobs.
We're all done.
And they refused
Yeah.
to check. They refused to check.
Come
And
on.
they still made us shoot X-ray. Now, mind you, it's 2 a.m,
Golly.
pouring out. So we're out there with our equipment and all this. And they're like, we want you to check here, 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 and here. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So we do it, and again, that's kind of always been my mindset, and my grandfather instilled this in me, and I try to do it with my guys is, we just grab it and growl.
Yeah.
Just do whatever you got to do to get the job done.
Grip it and rip it.
Grip it and rip it. You don't care. You just do it. You put your head down, and you get it done. So we did it. I spent the whole night. The sun's coming up, I'm like, whatever. It's the middle of the winter too. So it's
Yeah.
raining. It's the middle of the winter. I'm miserable. I haven't seen the kids in like a few days because I was on a job. So I'm like, oh my God. So anyways, I get a call like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Because I get no results for them. I give them an X-ray that's like blank. There's nothing there, right? I get a call 2 weeks later, and they're like, so we found the pig.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where did you find it? And they're like, in the trap.
In the trap. Come
I'm
on.
like, yeah, you're welcome.
That's so funny.
They're like, I can't believe you found that there. I'm like,
Is it just not being naive? Is it ego?
oh,
or
ego
pride?
plays. Well, it's so I deal, and I'm not an engineer by trade, right? I didn't go to school,
Right.
Right. I'm very fortunate to end up in the position that I did, but there's a benefit to doing the work the way I did it over the years and to rise the way I rose because I dealt with a lot of practical.
Sure, you're not learning through
Experiences.
theory.
It's
You're learning
all
through.
through-
I remember when this thing happened. To
On the
me.
job training,
And
yeah.
the old saying, I think it was Abraham Lincoln said, right? Common sense isn't as common as you would think.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, Thomas Paine. Common sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. 100%. So, and it goes a long ways, and that's how I was brought up. Try to use common sense and logic.
So I've been in a long distance relationship for 1 year and 8 months now. And again, we can say whatever we want about this because she does not listen to the show. And there was a moment during my trip home where I tried to have one of those like uncomfortable, but growing conversations. And it was tough. And we had to go on this walk and figure out all this stuff. And
Yeah, you have to like wrangle the person. You're like, hey,
yeah.
no, this is like real talk. We're not just getting groceries. Like, no, we need to talk about some stuff.
Yeah, because like things got awkward, and then it was. I think one of the things that I said is ultimately this is where I want to end up back home, and then it was, oh, with or without me, huh?
That's
I said,
tough.
"What? That wasn't, I mean.
Because as a man, though, that's where you got to be. You're like, yes, I absolutely want it to be you, but you got to understand. I got my mission and my principles.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's so tough. The more that I logistically think about it, because I think as men, we definitely look at things more logistically rather than emotionally. And when I look at the whole situation from just like an outside perspective and kind of take myself out of it, everything points towards I'm not going to end up in my hometown with the woman that I love, you know? And it's like, well, that's a real pessimistic way to think about stuff. And it's like, I'm just trying to be a realist. I'm just trying to, you know, what the odds actually are, right? And there's no end game in sight on this long distance thing. That was the talk that we had. It was, and this is like advice I got from you weeks and weeks and weeks ago. It was, let's just give me a ballpark. Just give me some sort of rough estimate of like when you think this is, because the longer that we're long distance, the more difficult the relationship is going to be. I don't accept that. People have done long distance for 3-4 years. I talked to this person that did this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're almost punished for speaking your mind and saying how you feel when you're told to do that over and over again. And she's not a bad person at all. It's just uncomfortable conversation. I think sometimes she lives in La La Land where everything is perfect all the time, but I don't. And I don't know, man. I'm not in a rush to get home. I think the 10-year mark is kind of my goal, which is still like 4 years away, you know, but I don't know. I feel like I'm missing so much time, but maybe that's because I'm not living in the moment of where I am. And one of the things that I often have to do is try not to think about my relationship. I try to like, and this might be super unhealthy, but sometimes I pretend like it's not, I don't even have one.
Well, to help you focus on just enjoying life, because you're like, well, if the person's not here and we're not on the phone all the time, like, let me do me. Like, I'm on this earth to enjoy myself too.
The embarrassing story, and this is where you clip it right here, is I'm living in Nashville, right? And I'm having so much trouble with my skin and everything is just not comfortable. I finally go see this dermatologist, Dr. Rodriguez. Guy changed my life. He's going to do a biopsy. We're going to send this to the lab. We're going to get a real diagnosis. I'm going to tell you what it is, what it's not, what, you know, all this stuff, and then we'll start your treatment plan. I go, okay, well, where are we going to pull this, you know? He had to cut skin, right, to be able to send it to the lab. And, of course, I told you this is happening where the sun don't shine. So he goes, well, we're going to go to the back door. And,
ow, dude.
Yeah. So we're not talking like my butt cheeks. We're talking the... Like,
man.
All right, so imagine how uncomfortable that is. He's like another dude. He's staring at your hole, you know, and he's like, you know, I'm not going to be able to do this myself. So he's like, girls, and these two just gorgeous nurses walk in, right? Meanwhile, I'm face down on this table, and he goes, girls, grab a cheek and spread. So. So I go from like a level, you know, 7 or 8 uncomfortable to like I'm through the roof, dude. My face is red. I'm so embarrassed. These two cute girls are spreading my butt apart, right? And he's in there and he has to like numb it first, and you know, so they're just holding it there.
Good, I'm glad he numbed it. Jeez.
Yeah. So and then he's you know doing the thing, and I'm trying to make light of the whole situation. And I'm like, you know, I look at the girls. I'm like, oh, you know, Veronica. Oh, you know, Angela. Girls, I really wish we could have met under different circumstances. I promise I'm a pretty cool dude. And they just start laughing. And the doctor's like, stop moving. Because he has a freaking X-Acto knife right near my rectum. Rectum man. Damn near killed him. So it was just so uncomfortable. And, but, no pun intended, but it was... sent into the lab, and this is exactly what it is, and this is how we can treat it. I'm like, okay, well, I've been told that I have this, this, and this, but he's like, nope, this is 100% it. And Skyrizzy changed everything.
Man, I mean, you must have really been in a desperate mode to deal with having people holding you down on a table.
Oh, my God.
Literally taking a piece of your body.
Yeah.
Just to
I can't
heal.
tell you, man. Like, well, man, don't call it a comeback. That's kind of what it is.
I'm back. I'm alive. And I know you haven't seen me or heard either of us since, in a long time, even though I posted that podcast that we recorded 3 days before I got rushed to the hospital. And this is kind of what this show is going to explain, everything that's happened between then and now.
It's been an absolutely wild several weeks. And I got hit up with so many different questions, different DMs and texts and you name it, of what happened to Dave? What can I do to help? Is he going to be okay? Just so on and so forth, right? And my response every time was, when he's comfortable, when he's doing better and he wants to tell the public what happened, he will. And we have the forum to be able to do that. And before we kind of jump into the scare, I want to bring it back to my birthday trip when we cut that show in person with Corey.
Right. That was like I want to say like around the 19th of July.
Right on my birthday, the 19th. Okay. So we're in there and you're moving like literally like you're a 110-year-old man. Like I've never seen somebody, and I'm just like, oh, well, he's sick. You know, it affects everybody different. And I'm thinking something has to be off. Like this isn't some flu. This isn't some, viral, virus, whatever. Something's off, but I was not sure. I kind of just defaulted to whatever you thought was going on. And at the time, it was some sort of flu. And then flash forward, several weeks later, you're laying on your couch and you're wearing your Apple Watch and it goes off.
Yeah, so exactly. And so when you guys came over, I didn't have any like flu. Like, I didn't feel like I was going to pass anything on. So I was like, yeah, I'm just tired. Like, I had a fever. I don't have it. You guys can come over. I just don't have a lot of energy. And I thought I had some, like, child sickness from, like, going to my niece's birthday party. Because this all happened 2 days after, like, July 17th. We had gone to Funtown. Funtown, Splash Town. It's full of germs. You kind of roll the dice. Yeah. Whatever happens, happens. I always bounce back from...
Yeah, if the kids don't get you sick, the food will, kind of thing.
Yeah. So that's one place where you got to stick to the sugar because it's like the safest thing to eat. Like if it's processed in an amusement park, I usually don't advocate for processed food, but in an amusement park, go for it. Do it.
You're golden.
Don't overload, but that will be safe. And I thought that's what it was. So I wasn't feeling good. Had a fever. I had like a 2.5, 3 day fever. Like it was crazy. And I had never felt that kind of fever before.
Yeah.
And what happened is it went away. And I thought like, man, okay, like maybe that's the end of it. Like I'm not really sure what to do. I always get over a cold, like it's no big deal. And that's when you guys came over. We cut a show. I was moving slow. I like moved the equipment over to the table. I was just gassed, like you said, like everything I did. But nothing bad started happening until the next week after you left, when I got the most intense migraines in my life. And I thought, wow, something's really, really wrong with me. But I didn't think it was anything as bad as what happened to me. It was like somebody was shaking my head, like violently. Like, I don't know if you've ever had, I don't know if there's a wrestling move or been in a fight where like, but you couldn't, it was like I was sitting still, but everything was going like this, like back and forth really, really fast.
Probably only whenever I had gotten like a concussion, honestly.
Yeah. And so I was scared that I was like, well, am I having a seizure? Like, I'm conscious, so I can't be having a seizure. And it would last for 15 minutes. I was just checking my Apple Watch right there. I'm like so focused on it now, but it was just my bedtime alert.
And we'll get to that. Yeah.
And I check it now all the time, which is cool because there's more stuff with the watch. But I had that, and I was like, man, that was bad. I was immobilized. I was like, okay, maybe I need electrolytes. Maybe I'm dehydrated. Kept going through all the normal stuff that, you think I'm lacking something. I haven't moved around for a week. That's weird for me. But they kept coming and on and off. And then one night I was laying in my bed, I'll just lay down. And I had the fan on. And this one lasted for 30 seconds. And I'm like, this is not all right. So the next morning, it takes me forever to wake up. And this is, mind you, almost 2 weeks of feeling terrible.
Man.
And I've got stiff neck, stiff joints. It's like I had been lifting a bunch of weights, curls. My elbows didn't want to bend out without pain. And I'm like, this is really weird. So then I try to stand up and get out of bed finally. And it feels like I'm going to pass out. Or it's when you stand up too fast and
you're kind of like, whoa.
And things go a little bit dark just for a second because the blood is rushing. Well, dude, it was times 100. It went completely dark, but I was conscious, and I would have to grab something, and I'd be like, man, what the heck? Still no energy. Did a shower. The next day, I was like, all right, Dad, this has been kind of going on. I couldn't walk to the end of the driveway without feeling kind of faint.
Yeah.
Luckily, I never fainted. I said, all right, let's go to urgent care because I can't, I can't stand up. I can't do normal stuff, and I'm tired.
Yeah.
So to go back to the night before, 2 nights before we went to urgent care, I decided, let me put my Apple Watch on because it's always giving me info, and I know it checks heart rate, and if I'm moving slow, my heart must be going slow too. I was just guessing at this point. So I'm watching a movie or something. I fall asleep for 10 minutes and it will buzz. It's it'll buzz your wrist and it does it enough to wake you up, or you can have the sound on. And it was your heart rate is dangerously low. It's under 50. I was like, oh man, what is it? And I'm like, it's 38. I'm like, 38. How is that really bad? I don't know. I know it's low, but I don't know how bad it is. And then I'm reading online trying to figure out how to keep my heart rate up. And they're like, oh, if you pump your arms and do these deep breathing exercises. So the next day I'm just doing that when I'm walking around to try to keep the blood essentially pumping into my head and my extremities. And because I'm okay, I'm not feeling good still. In my head, I think I'm still just not feeling good. And this is a part of it and it'll go away.
It's crazy.
And so I go through the day doing that, and I haven't had any really bad incidents other than oh man, gotta sit down, man, gotta lay down. And then the morning of going to urgent care, still not feeling good. I make breakfast. Well, my dad made breakfast. I'm standing up eating it, and I'm like, Dad, I gotta go to urgent care. My watch keeps going off every hour, and my heart rate is so slow. At one point it dropped to 29 for a few minutes.
My goodness.
And I was like, okay, that's alarming to me. Now, here's the weirdest part. Once we try to go to urgent care in Westbrook, they're only seeing people virtually. I'm like, but you guys are in here. I'm talking to you in person.
My goodness.
I'm like, they're like, oh, here's a map. So they did give me a map of all these other ones, and there's a bunch. So we're like, let's go to Gorham. Let's not go into the city because, I don't know, maybe it's busy. I don't want to be waiting. Yeah. Gorham is wide open. It's me and one other person.
Sweet.
So I go into Gorham, I fill out my paperwork, and they see me in 10 minutes. I'm like, hey, can you use the bathroom? Use the bathroom. I've had no incidents. I don't feel dizzy. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, I'm here, but maybe I'm already feeling better, and they'll just tell me that it's passed or it's passing. And then I go in, they check my pulse, they do all this stuff. And then, she's like, all right, your heart rate's really slow. I want to check something. So they do an EKG, and they hook up these electrical, basically pieces of tape with wires attached to them, and they look at your your pulse going across the screen. And she's like, kind of alarmed, but not freaked out. And she's like, I'm in Maine. Have you been bitten by a tick? This is a typical question that you're asked in Maine because we have lots of ticks and they can cause lots of problems. And she's like, I said, yeah, like a month ago. I was like, that was so long ago. I pulled it off. Like, there's no way. That was so long ago.
Yeah, and you never even thought about it again.
Nope. Yep. Pulled it like I always do. I've had over 100 tick bites for sure. I mean,
Right.
you growing up in Maine, we'd run through the woods, tall grass, whatever. You pull them off. It's like no
hold
big
still,
deal.
hold still. Let me get that. Let me, and then you flick the bic
Yeah.
and you burn them.
Exactly. That's what I did, and I've never ever tested or been tested for anything with a tick bite. Never.
No.
And she was like, "Well, here's the thing." She's like, "Without the full tests and the blood work, which is going to take some time," she's like, "I think you have Lyme carditis," and I'm like, what do you mean? So like props to this doctor who before doing anything just had a really good intuition. She's like, well, basically like you have Lyme, but it's a very specific type of Lyme. And the tick bite has like infected your heart. So like if that's the case, like in your heart, it's like a muscle and electrical system. So the electrical system is what like makes your heart move and the heart pumps the blood to your body. So of course we all know the heart's a real important thing to like be pumping
Right.
correctly. So the only details I got was like that. And she's like, and you can't leave by any means other than an ambulance.
Right.
I'm like, what I'm like, I'm like not processing that this is like that serious. I'm just like, yeah, I'm tired, but can I just get a ride? And so they come in.
Real quick, before
Yeah.
you go further, and I don't want to cut you off,
No, you're
but
good.
I've never heard of Lyme carditis before. Did I say that right?
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
I had never heard of it either.
I've always heard of Lyme disease. I know it's a bad thing. I don't necessarily even know what it does. So how does Lyme disease, is that just like, is Lyme carditis a variant of Lyme? Like, is it all under the same deal or?
Yeah, it's a form. It's like a acute, I guess would be the word. And
Okay.
by the way, neither of us are doctors. I'm relaying what they told me. So go do your homework. And
Yeah.
if I make a misstep, like, just tell me about it. But yeah, so it's acute. It's very specific. There's one form where you can't eat raw red meat for life. And I'm like, dang, I hope I don't have that
No.
one. Luckily, I didn't have that one.
Yeah.
There's another. I mean, some of it is really bad and it stays with you forever. So I'm like, silver lining now is I'm really fortunate that it's not a for life thing. I'm going to like fully recover. But at this
Yeah.
point in the story, I don't know any of this.
Yeah.
So
When I was a kid, my dad was super into that stuff, right? Strangely, boxing cards,
huh.
because like boxing was really big in the 90s.
Yeah.
Tyson, of course, right? And there was this like really valuable card that my dad was trying to find in one of these packs. And I remember he pulled it.
What?
I can't remember who it was. Like, I have no knowledge about this, and I was so young. But I remember Dad pulled that card, and it was a super valuable card, but it wouldn't fully come out of the pack. And he's like, what the hell is going on? Like, his eyes were like saucers, right? So he starts peeling it back, and the card in the factory had accidentally been sealed in the seam of the packaging.
Whoa.
So there was like rigid marks all along the bottom of the card, which like ruined its value.
Man.
So he went from just like a sky 10 to like a -10, dude, like that quick.
Oh
I'm
my
like, man,
God.
the disappointment, dude.
I haven't even thought about back to school shopping in forever, but like my niece is a freshman in high school and
That is just crazy to me.
to say
What?
that is aging myself.
Oh my
and
goodness,
yourself.
dude. What?
And Ryan had to take her back to school shopping. It must be way harder to take like your daughter back to school shopping, I would think, because like you said, there's so many outfits and there's, I don't know, the world of women's fashion is just, it's a little beyond my knowledge base. So I'm just gonna
surprised he wasn't
let
like,
it
go
be."
with your mother.
Yeah, go with your mother, figure it out. She probably did, and he was
Yeah.
like, we're gonna go get the the pencils and the pens. Or I guess
Right.
nowadays, what is it? Just like a battery for your iPad, or
I think so, man.
charger?
Like,
there's no more
as
pencils.
soon as you walk into middle school, they get you an iPad and a MacBook Pro. Like, here you go.
This one, there's a lot of reality in this, and it's called Colonel Buck's Cursed Tomb. Okay, this is a real gravesite. I've been to it multiple times. It is about an hour and a half outside of where I live, Portland. You drive up the coast, and you get to a place called Bucksport. And there was a colonel. The colonel's name was Colonel, I believe, Jonathan Buck. He was the founder of the town. Bucksport. It's his port. His last name was Buck, so you get it.
What about Kennebucksport?
That doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
Okay,
like
moving
Bucks,
forward.
it's his port. So,
Any relation to Joe Buck?
not that I know of, and hopefully
Okay.
for Joe Buck's sake, there isn't any. So you drive. I'm gonna read this from RoadsideAmerica.com.
Oh, dude, here we go. Get ready.
A drive along Maine's craggy coast. It's annoyingly picturesque. Pretty little towns and roads are clotted with leisure drivers, when all you really want is a clear path to the cursed tomb of Colonel Buck. Perhaps the curse can be blamed for the traffic problems. People in this part of Maine can pin practically anything on that damn tomb. The tomb of the town's founder, Colonel Jonathan Buck, it features a mysterious stain. Okay, so for those of you that are that have the internet, just fire up Bucksport, Maine, Colonel Buck's tomb. You're gonna
Throw it in
see
the old Google machine, right?
there's an outline of a leg, and it's this tomb. It's a tall stone. Okay, so it kind of looks like a boot or like a woman's stocking-clad foot. So just imagine that. And it's clear as day. This is not like you have to look up close. Like, you can almost see this. You can see it driving by. I'll say that. Like, that's pretty clear. So the leg stain on this memorial, according to legend, came about when Colonel Buck burned a witch, had her and her leg rolled out of the bonfire. So to add a little bit more to that story, there's a rumor, legend has it, that he was having an affair with this witch. Now, we all know that mostly, and probably 99 to 100%, these witches were just women who were living in an alternate way. So this woman was divorced or unmarried and in your 40s and 50s. It was very uncommon, especially back in the 1800s, for that to be. So people would make up all kinds of reasons why you were a
She must be a witch.
Exactly. Anyway, Colonel Buck.
Real quick,
burned her.
before you move on, there are still tons of quote unquote witch ovens in and like all around New England,
That's
and quite
crazy.
a few in Maine that I've walked into them.
So a lot of that is myth, because most witches were hung or stoned. Brutal either way.
Yeah, geez.
We don't know. We don't know.
Right, we
about
weren't
the
around.
ovens, right? We don't know. So the leg, legend has it, rolled out of the bonfire. That's why we see an outline of a leg. So Colonel Buck's heirs, his kids and kin, tried to clean the foot off the stone multiple times. It says they have replaced the monument twice. Replaced the whole monument, but the foot, it keeps coming back. Won't
Now
go away.
this is the foot of the witch.
Yes.
It's like, no,
it's
no,
an
no, no.
outline of a woman's leg. Actually, one of my friend's dads, who is just an all-around handyman, one time he was on the job. He was up there for a week. And he said they'd go, they'd clean it off. It'd be 3 p.m. They'd call it a day. Come back the next day, like they did no work.
What?
It was just back. It won't go away. They replaced the monument.
the first question. Let's just get
Q&A.
into it.
Let's
You ready?
do it. Yep.
Here we go.
What it do and what it is, it's your boy A-Tiz, and I got a question for my boy Dave. I seen that you just picked up an estate, and I want to know what's the most valuable item you found so far.
Wow, great question.
Bro, not just me, but people have been keeping up with your Instagram story. And I tell you, I'm like, this is the ultimate documentary right here. you and your dad doing this. It's like American Pickers, but with cool people.
Yeah, it's thanks for that. It's been really awesome to do it with my dad because I'll give you the whole backstory on the house. He knew the woman who recently passed about a year ago and knew her sons. And so there was like a real relationship there. She was an antique dealer. Dude, she had spent, and I got this quote from the kids verbatim, her entire paycheck, like she'd spent every paycheck on antiques, items. Like she was like A-Tiz, Out the Box, you, me, everyone. She was like us, and that's what she did full time. When you walk into this house, so it's like a 4-bedroom with a basement, living room, kitchen, dining room, and extra family area and garage, and a shed out back. Every single room was full of stuff. It was
just full to the brim.
It was like a hoarder's haven, but it wasn't just
like junk.
It wasn't just junk, and that's why my dad said, I got a good feeling about this.
Yeah.
And he told me, hey, I just spent $20,000 on. I was like, hold on, you spent $20,000 on? I don't even know what. You spend $20,000? That's a car,
right? Because to the average person, the normal person, that is a massive, massive gamble to just play with 20 G's like that. You might as well put it on the frickin' roulette table, right?
Well, yeah, because I hadn't even seen it. He goes, yeah, no, I walked the house for like 35 minutes. Feel like there's some good stuff. And I said, whatever you say, man, because I haven't seen it. It's sight unseen to me. So we drive down there, pull up, and I'm going to figure out the most valuable thing as I tell this story. I'll get to it.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited to hear all this, dude.
We get to the house, and I say, okay, cool, good neighborhood. It's in a cul-de-sac. And I walk in the living room. I said, oh, my God. Overwhelming.
Yeah.
So many things everywhere. I said, all right, Dad, like at least quantity wise, if we sell everything for $1, we'll triple our money. Even if it's just $1. So right, like if you go to a flea market and I'm like, hey, look at this book. Somebody might buy it for $1. So I said, okay. Go through, and cards wise, not a ton, but old paper.
Yeah.
My dad, he knows so much about old ads, old trade cards, not trading cards, not like baseball cards, but trade cards from the late 1800s. So the Victorian era, they would do these really ornate, nice designs, good drawings. And they put a lot of detail into it. It's not like today where you can go to Kinko's and get 100 copies of whatever you want to print. Like, we used to do flyers for the club or whatever event back in the day. These are nice. And so I start looking through stuff, and I look at him. He looks back at me. We're trying to play it cool because we don't want to like give off that we got something good. So I look across the room, and he just goes, and I'm like, yeah, good, nice.
Dude, let's go.
So we're just doing the thumbs up back and forth, and I pull something out. I go, hey, look at that. He goes, oh, this is good. Put it in the box. Yeah. So we're like boxing stuff up, and these guys are super cool to work with. So we now fast forward, we were there for like 4 or 5 days over the past week and a half, like marathon. Drive down an hour and 20 minutes from Portland, drive back, fill the van 4 times. We filled a Mercedes Sprinter van full of stuff.
Wow.
And now we're finally done. He went there one more time today to wrap up just to make sure we didn't miss anything. And we feel very good that we will probably 5 or 6x our money
Golly,
into it. Now,
what?
It won't be all at once, right? So it's not going to be...
This will trickle out over time.
Exactly. And for us, having a shop, this is perfect because we want to have inventory.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that the initial investment was worth it. And getting to what I thought is going to be the most valuable thing in the estate, because obviously we didn't get the house, but we did get all the contents. And we didn't have to clean everything out. We just took what we wanted. We sent in another crew after us. They'll take whatever they want, and we'll get paid again based on that. Meat on the bone. We always talk about that.
Yeah.
So we left enough stuff to where they're going to go in, clear out any, there's an organ, there's another piano. There's still a lot of stuff in there. There's old china,
So there was like some things that were just a little bit too big that you probably couldn't bring back with you. But what's the old saying? One man's trash is another man's treasure. So who knows if those guys are like, they're kind of crazy. Like we're coming,
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so the most valuable thing, we did find a bit of gold, which was cool. So like $400 in gold. I think just initially, because again, we boxed everything up, just looking at the quality, saying, all right, this isn't beat up. This might be worth something. Just put it in a box and go. We're trying to go fast. I got about 11 old, like milk crate wooden boxes. Moxie. It's got Moxie on it.
Dude,
okay?
Moxie.
If you're not from Maine or New England, you don't know Moxie maybe. It's an old soda company, still around. And these boxes were like painted red and black. If you get the red and the black, it's a lot. That and a Boston Beer Company and a Canada Dry. But these boxes probably fit 12 big bottles. Those boxes go for like $250 a piece.
I watched all 8 Harry Potter films.
Oh, you knocked that out in a week?
Got it done in a week, bro. And let me tell you, this is like 20 hours of programming. These movies are so long.
They just get longer as it goes, dude.
Seriously, dude. And
Sirius
I came
Black.
on here. Yeah. And all I wanted to say to you was, Happy Christmas, Dave. That's it. That's what I wanted to tell you right off the jump. But let me tell you, man, I distinctly remember in high school, especially like sophomore, junior year, I started seeing these Harry Potter books pop up everywhere.
Yep.
And these were like, no joke, these were thick books, right? And the only thing I was into at that age was rap, wrestling, and women.
Yep.
That's it, man. You know, so I didn't have any time for
no space.
Yeah, for wizards and witchcraft and giants and, you know, ghosts and dragons, like none of that stuff. But let me tell you, man, I'm really happy that I watched them. I saved this picture, speaking of Home Alone 2, and this is going to make you feel some type of way, Dave. If you were born before 1990, which we both were.
I already know
86,
where you're going with this.
You're now older than Marv in Home Alone, bro.
Come on,
no!
Marv. No, dude. We're the sticky bandits.
No, we're the wet bandits.
We got to change it up.
I was like, damn, man, that just made me feel so weird.
We really covered a ton of stuff. Like, that all hit me fast. It was like my year literally just flashed before my eyes.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that we have banked so much content in just 1 year.
Yeah, it's crazy. We really wanted to hit the highlights for you, but if you kind of dig deep into this stuff, I was like, Dave had his big health scare. I was having a really hard time mentally being out here isolated away from everybody and everything that I care about. And it took some real character building. It took some real balls, dare I say, to really turn that around. And I'm so happy that I have. But just listening back to all that stuff, man, and some of the, like, we would get super, super deep sometimes. And I think it was good. I don't want to speak for you, but I know it was definitely good for me. And then just sharing some of the funny stories and like the silly things that have happened to us, and just kind of just in those clips, seeing the growth just as people and you as a host as well, just over this past like this. It's wild to me, dude. It's so cool to see. It's documented, it's down, it's on wax, it's on the internet forever. It feels super cool.
That's why we do this, because you need to document your life as frequently as you want, as infrequently as you want. It's the best part about this is not for personal gain. It's I want to look back when we're old and we're in chairs rocking on the porch somewhere like, dude, look at us. We were in our 30s. Like, look at what we did.
Yeah.
And I think that's why anybody wants to capture a memory in a photo, in an audio podcast, in a video. So that's our goal. And if you meet us along the way and we interact along the way, maybe we'll capture some of that in our show.
Yeah. Well, I think you and I both have some decisions to make about what we're going to do going forward. But as far as I have it right here, right now in my mind, this is definitely something that I want to continue. But of course, I'm not putting anybody on the spot. This is something we can talk about in private. It was a fascinating ride for me to say that I successfully completed an entire season of a podcast outside of my full-time job. I got to do it with you. we get to capture our lives, or at least an hour of our lives nearly every week in 4K with crispy audio. And it's something that I'll be able to show my kids one day, when we are in those chairs and we change the name of the show to, Rockin' with Homie,
I'm going to put it to the people. I'll be posting like, do you want this back? And what do you want more of?
Yeah. Is it the Q&A style episodes? Is it just the fly on the wall approach where you get to hear us kind of shoot the breeze and talk about life and things that are happening? Because I feel like we covered so much ground over this past year. But I think the thing about most podcasts and even projects in general, really, like you could relate this to YouTube channels or Instagram channels, whatever. Like, people kind of chop off their own legs before they even get off the ground. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to say this nearly 40 weeks is an entire body of work that I'm super pumped about. Shared some real embarrassing stories, had some real heart-to-hearts. Like, it was a mixture of everything. So I just want to tell you how appreciative I am of you, Dave, for always being such a great friend to me, always being somebody that I can look up to, that I can get advice from. You're my best friend in the world, and this has been a pleasure, bro. I really appreciate you.
That's nice to hear. That's why this works, bro, because we're on the same wave. And folks, this is what it looks like when you have a friend of 20 plus years, like a real genuine friend. So if you need to look in your lives of who those people are, just take us as an example. That is what you should look for.
Absolutely. Well, make sure you kick ass in the new year. I'm talking to the listeners right now. It's wild, man. 2024, Kobe year. Let's ball out. It's cool to be you. Take care. For Dave, I'm JR. See you later.